Law and ethics. Ethics are standard of right and wrong. What is right, wrong? सही ठीक सही गलत. Standard प्रमाण. Ethics are standard of right and wrong. Law are system of rules. Rules का system that enforced through social institution by court, any statutory, by executive. You can enforce in order to govern our behavior. हमारा govern behavior to govern our behavior. Law are made by legislature or executive legislature or ordinance. They prescribe law made by legislature or executive means ordinance. राष्ट्रपति और एमपी एमएलए इस प्रेस्क्राइब व्हाट वन मस्ट डू. वन मस्ट डू क्या करेंगे, मस्ट डू करना पड़ेगा. वायलेशन ऑफ लॉ में इन्वॉल्व पेनल्टी और पनिशमेंट. लॉ का वायलेशन पेनल्टी और पनिशमेंट. लॉ कैन बी एनफोर्स्ड बाय वेरियस एजेंसीज और थ्रू कोर्ट ऑफ लॉ. इस एजेंसी और थ्रू कोर्ट ऑफ लॉ. बट एथिक्स आर स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ राइट एंड रॉन्ग दैट प्रेस्क्राइब व्हाट ह्यूमन ऑट टू डू. Ethics are standard of right और wrong. सही और गलत की स्टैंडर्ड को that prescribe what humans ought to do. Humans ought to क्या करना चाहिए. Ethics can control every human emotion. Ethics can control every human emotion कर सकते हैं और behavior. But law cannot. Ethics can control human emotion and behavior. Law cannot control. Humans ought to do. Ethics helps administrator in using in law. Ethics are standard or right or wrong. What does prescribe what humans ought to do. Administrator in using his or discretionary power in more moral way. Ethics helps administrator यूजिंग कर सकता है डिस्क्रिशनरी पावर, उसकी क्षमता, इच्छाधीन क्षमता. देयर आर वेरियस सोर्सेस ऑफ एथिकल स्टैंडर्ड्स लाइक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, प्रोफेशन, सोशल नॉर्म्स, स्टैंडर्ड्स, रिलीजन, धर्म, ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, प्रोफेशन, वृत्ति, सोशल नॉर्म्स. नॉट adhering to ethical principles may or may not involve punishment. Ethical principles may or may not involve punishment or involve punishment में involve नहीं. Ethics are enforced in an informal manner through process like conformity, social reflection, etc. Ethics. Ethics in professional social norms. Not adhering ethical principle may or may not involve punishment. Not involve punishment. Ethics are enforced in an informal manner or formal manner through process like conformity, social reflections, various sorts of ethical standards like organization standards. Ethics help administrator. Ethics can control every human emotion or behavior, but law cannot. Law can only fear the people, terrify people. But ethics is internal feelings. Internal feelings. Law. Ethical management and management of ethics. Ethical management refers to inclusion of ethical dimension. Refers to ethical dimension in management of institution. How management institution like government, NGO, government organization and private firms. Personal ethics and professional ethics. Personal ethics and professional ethics. Personal ethics refers to the moral and values. Personal ethics refers to moral and values which we hold as a standard for governing our life. Personal ethics and professional ethics. Personal ethics refers to moral and values which we hold as a standard for governing our life. लाइफ को गवर्निंग करने के लिए पर्सनल एथिक्स दे हेल्प इन शेपिंग आवर कैरेक्टर, दे डिटरमाइन आवर बिहेवियर एंड एटीट्यूड with the people we know personally, speaking truth, respecting elders. Ethics. Personal ethics refer to moral and values, standard for governing our life. They help in shaping our character. और कैरेक्टर को शेप करता है. They determine our behavior and attitude. Personal ethics, professional ethics. Professional ethics involves code of conduct, व्यक्तिगत ethics, code of conduct laid down at workplace, code of conduct. Personal ethics is moral and values, नैतिकता values, which we hold as standard for governing our life. Which we hold as standard governing our life. They help in shaping our character, moral ethics, determine our behavior and attitude, व्यवहार with the people we know personally. Our behavior and attitude with the people we know personally, we know. Speaking truth, respecting elders. Speaking truth, सच बोलना, respecting elders. Elders को respect करना. Determine behavior, attitude with the people we know personally, we know. Our attitude. And professional ethics is moral code of conduct. Workplace, our personal views and concern about any topic. Professional ethics. Protocol of the organization. They influence our professional career. Punctuality, equality in treatment, fairness in delivering justice. Punctuality influence our professional career. Punctuality, equality in treatment, fairness in delivering justice. Professional career, professional ethics, punctuality, equality, treatment, fairness in delivering justice, discrimination and preferential treatment, ethical management and management of ethics. Ethical management of ethics. Ethical management refers to नैतिक परिचालना, ethics, नैतिकतार परिचालना. Ethical management refers to inclusion of ethical dimension in management of institution, a government, NGO, government organization, or private firm. Ethical management means ethical dimension in management of institution. Training of managers and workers. Personal ethics. Discrimination and preferential treatment. Ethical management refers to inclusion of ethical dimension in management of institutions like government, NGO, private. Training managers, ethical management. Ethical परिचालना. Training manager and workers to make them ethically literate and professional. Ethically trained manager or workers in the institution or government, private firms. Management refers to inclusion of ethical dimension. Management of ethics. Ethics of management means creating code of norms of policy for members of society or institution. Ethical behavior, formulating code of conduct for organization or profession like civil service, law. Management of ethics. Ethical management. Inclusion of ethical dimension. Institution like government, private or NGO. Ethical management for their workers and train their ethically literate. But management of ethics means common institution, civil services, law, code of conduct for organization to assure their compliance towards ethical behavior. Ethical behavior. All human beings aspire for happiness. Do you agree? What does happiness mean to you? Happiness is a state of positive or pleasant emotion. Positive, or pleasant, ananda emotion, ranging from contentment up to intense joy, ananda. Happiness leads to high self-confidence, optimism, freedom from stress, depression and anxiety से freedom, optimism, integration with society, society के साथ integration with society. It is such fundamental importance to the human condition. Life, liberty and pursuit. It is of such fundamental importance to the human condition. Life, liberty and pursuit of happiness. Fundamental importance to the human condition. Life, liberty and pursuit of happiness. Pursuit of happiness. We are deemed to be unalienable rights for the United States Declaration of Independence. It's fundamental importance to the human condition. That life, liberty and pursuit of happiness. But happiness. I feel happy when following situations. In the morning when I read newspaper, I feel happy by reading positive news. I feel happy when I reach my workplace on time. I feel happy when I complete my daily assignment on time. I feel happy after learning something new. After learning something new, the most important thing which makes me happy. The most important thing is which makes me happy. When my speech and thoughts are reflected in my action. When my speech and thoughts are reflected in my action. When my speech and thoughts are reflected in my action. Speech or thought are reflected in my action. The most important thing which makes me happy. It is of such fundamental importance to the human condition. High self-confidence, optimism, high self-confidence, आत्मविश्वास, optimism, आशावादी, freedom from stress से आजाद, depression and anxiety से, integration with society, समाज के साथ integration. It is such fundamental importance to the human condition. Life, liberty and the pursuit. It is fundamental importance to human condition that life, liberty and liberty and pursuit of happiness. We are deemed to be unalienable rights by United States Declaration of Independence. Thus, all individuals to aspire for happiness. All individuals do aspire for happiness. However, different people have different level of happiness. Different people have different level of happiness. Disposition, inner tendency to remain happy. Inner tendency. Also, happiness is a fuzzy concept and can mean many different things to different people. It leads to negative emotion and undesirable behaviors. Unethical behaviors. How can it be managed and controlled? Anger is a negative emotion which is an outcome of a lack of emotional intelligence. Anger is a negative emotion which is an outcome of a lack of emotional intelligence. Anger is a negative emotion which is an outcome of a lack of emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence above. It is also an outcome of biased attitude. Outcome of biased attitude. A lack of rational thinking. Biased attitude outcome for lack of rational thinking. Anger often leads to an undesirable behavior both in work and personal life. Anger often leads to an undesirable behavior both in work and personal life. Work and personal life, व्यक्तिगत जीवन. and also it generates feeling of retribution. Feelings of retribution. Then an investigating officer could not find a breakthrough in a sensational case. Breakthrough in sensational case. Crime branch officer, due to anger, would admonish his subordinate. Bureaucratic. Distinction between the two terms are right their merits and demerits. The different kind of attitude be exhibited by public servant. Public servant's attitude. Work have been identified as the bureaucratic attitude, democratic attitude. Bureaucratic attitude of the public servant. Public servant.